Okay, so the Boruto history has been rewritten in the past, but nobody knows what has been rewritten, but I think we might have the answer. Before we get into it, I need you to do me a huge favor, scroll down right now and tap on that button, make it gray because gray is better. And since you're already down there, hit the thumbs up if you guys enjoy more content like this, and let's jump straight into it. Okay, so there are a couple of theories as to how history could have been rewritten, but let's back up and see what are the limitations of the Omnipotence ability. Omnipotence is what was used by Ida to rewrite the memories of humankind, as explained by Momoshiki in chapter 79. This ability is gained when an Otsutsuki ascends to the power of a god, but it does not impact the memories of Otsutsuki clan members, which means that it's specifically used to manipulate the perception of the human race. It also does not eliminate physical evidence of the previous world. As seen in chapter 5 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Boruto's family album is still fully intact and those pictures still exist. That brings us to two prevailing theories, the second of which is my favorite. But the first one is one that I've seen floating around, so I thought I'd share it, and it's associated to the history of the Uzumaki clan and how they were actually wiped out. We all know that the Uzumaki clan was famously known for their sealing jutsus, as mentioned multiple times and reiterated by Kushina in The World Within the Spiral, where she tried to teach Minato some. The Uzumaki clan was an ancient clan that stemmed from the same branch as Ashura, which yielded the Senju. It's likely that they founded many initial sealing jutsus on top of some of the most powerful ones that we see nowadays. These could even potentially include sealing jutsus that grant power, such as the Byakugo seal and the Curse Mark. The theory suggests that the Otsutsuki clan wiped out the Uzumaki clan because they were beginning to unveil the ancient secrets and techniques, such as the truth to creating the Curse Mark. You also see many parallels between the Curse Mark and the Karma Seal, which are both showcased by small markings on the body that grant the user extraordinary power, but is very difficult to contain, and are particularly used as vessels of reincarnation. In Sasuke's case, it was to be a vessel to Orochimaru, and in Boruto's case, it was to be a vessel for Momoshiki. The Uzumaki clan was indeed targeted for their sealing jutsu, so it may not be too much of a stretch to reason who was actually responsible and why. Uzushiogakure, or the Land of Whirlpools, which is where the Uzumaki was from, were allies with the Leaf during that period in time due to the blood relation between the Senju and the Uzumaki. So it doesn't really make sense why the Hidden Leaf wouldn't get involved. It does add a little bit of virtue to this theory that potentially the Otsutsuki clan could have wiped out the Uzumakis and rewritten history as though they had no involvement. The second theory is actually something that I've been thinking about for a while now, but I thought I would share it with you guys. We know Kaguya came to Earth with Ishiki, and based on what Hagoromo told us in chapter 670 of Shippuden, she came specifically for a fruit, and that fruit was able to enable her to rule the land. Now there are a couple of issues here. Shippuden told us that she was the originator of chakra and did not have it beforehand, but when we look in the Boruto manga, both in Amado's explanation of the Otsutsuki history, as well as the images generated by the Otsutsuki stone tablets, we see that she already has her Rinne Sharingan awoken, which implies that she had chakra before coming. This makes a lot of sense because every other member of the Otsutsuki clan already had chakra, so it doesn't really make sense as to why she would not upon coming to Earth. The issue comes when we get Amado's explanation. Apparently, Kaguya was meant to be sacrificed to the Ten Tails, which is a seedling, so it can turn into the divine tree and bear a fruit so Ishiki can evolve. The problem is that how could Kaguya have eaten of the divine tree when she betrayed Ishiki and neither of them were even sacrificed to it? I'm also going to take a little side note here to disregard the Naruto filler involving the events that took place in this period of time and the human sacrifices and whatnot, because it's blatantly filler and Kishimoto didn't have much involvement in that. And there are plenty of other examples as for things that don't make sense around that point in time in those filler episodes. For example, they actually got Indra's Mangekyo Sharingan animated completely incorrectly, and they gave Ashura the Rasengan even though it wasn't even created yet. Anyways, what likely happened is that, much like Hagoromo stated, they actually did not come to Earth only to harvest a fruit planted by themselves, but by the Otsutsukis that came before them. So there was likely a pair of Otsutskis that came to Earth, which is very convenient because we see that there are two Otsutskis actually crossed out of the Otsutsuki tablets, which are likely the two that we're referring to. And what's even more likely is that the higher ranking of the two was Shibai Otsutsuki himself, since he was referred to as the Otsutsuki god. So in hopes of becoming like Shibai, Kaguya likely betrayed Ishiki and not only didn't sacrifice herself, but also ate of the fruit that was already there. Further evidence proving this is the case is that Ishiki still had the seed that they were planning on planting, which was the Ten Tails, which was far inferior to the one we saw with Kaguya, this one being a juvenile while the other one was ancient. Kurama himself, keep in mind he's actually a portion of the Ten Tails chakra, also refers to the Ten Tails as the beginning of chakra and the creator god of many nations. And the fourth data book also states that the Ten Tails is a fragment of the god tree that gave birth to the universe. We know that the Otsutskis can create universes and dimensions as seen by Kaguya's dimension and as stated in the novels as Momoshiki's dimension, but it's likely that their dimensions are inferior and likely made of chakra, since Momoshiki was able to absorb power and chakra from his own dimension, as stated in the novels in the fight against Naruto, and in the Boruto anime, which I believe is actually canon. Naruto's chakra changes the spatial curvature of Kaguya's dimensions. Shibai, on the other hand, could do things that seem to be natural phenomenon, which may be creating universes as well, but without the need for chakra. For example, he has Shinjutsu and not Ninjutsu, and how all Shinjutsu comes from him, but some other Otsutsukis can use it as well, such as Ishiki's Dojutsu. Another interesting thing is that Amato states that Ishiki would need to go on with a plan without Kaguya, but this actually is impossible, because if he sacrificed himself to the Ten Tails, then he wouldn't able to eat the fruit and ascend. But then again, Ishiki was more concerned with the Otsutsuki will rather than evolving himself, as he passed on his will to Code, which means that likely what Shibai wants was an Otsutsuki sacrifice for himself, which Ishiki himself might have needed to fulfill himself if Boruto and Kawaki were not able to be used. And Shibai may have rewritten the memories of those on Earth so we could forget that he was here the whole time, or maybe even that he's Amato himself, but that's just a theory. There are some holes in this theory and it's not entirely complete, but I would love to see what you guys think down below, to see if you guys could help me add to this. Also, if you guys have any other ideas as to what the Otsutsuki clan could have rewritten, let me know. And if you guys like more videos like this, don't forget to drop a like, comment, and sub, as well as checking out our Discord server and our channel hoodies, and I'll catch you in the next one.